Deep in the climate-controlled archives of the University of Pennsylvania Museum, on one of countless identical shelves, sits a small palm-sized piece of clay bearing the catalogue number CBS 1386. Unremarkable, covered in cuneiform writing, cracked with broken edges, it was long considered just another fragment of an ordinary record, perhaps a list of grain or livestock. Nothing notable, barely translatable, forgotten for decades. Yet it contained something extraordinary, a tiny symbol, a cuneiform sign that appeared in no dictionary of Sumerian or Akkadian languages. It was an anomaly, a linguistic ghost that scholars had ignored for generations, dismissing it as a scribal error or random scratch. But in 2025, something remarkable happened. Researchers uploaded three-dimensional scans of tens of thousands of similar fragments into a next-generation neural network as part of the Electronic Babel project. The goal seemed straightforward: train artificial intelligence to classify fragments and find matches, virtually reconstructing broken tablets. But this system was different. It was trained not just to recognize shapes, but to capture context, grammar, and the evolution of language across thousands of years. Then, one night, under dim blue light, the system issued an alert. It hadn't just processed fragment CBS 1386, it had restored it. After studying millions of contexts from other texts, the algorithm hypothesized that this mysterious symbol meant something specific. It wasn't a flaw, but a key to a grammatical structure no one had imagined existed. Using this key on the entire record, what had been considered mere livestock inventory transformed into something chilling. The translation read, "And the seventh version was rejected because his voice was too loud before the faces of the creators. The word version should not appear in a language from an age barely familiar with bronze." This wasn't just translation, it was a violation of all historical matrices. One sentence, pulled from oblivion by digital intelligence, made everything we considered truth about our origins questionable. It suggested not creation but manufacture, not gods but engineers, not one human but chains of failed prototypes. And thus began investigations into the oldest cold case in history. To understand the scope of this discovery, we must descend into the vault of history where these treasures truly exist. Imagine the British Museum, not its illuminated halls, but behind-the-scenes endless corridors reeking of dust and old paper. In special boxes are preserved tens of thousands of clay tablets found in Iraq during the 19th and 20th centuries. The Library of Nineveh, the archives of Ur, the laws of Lagash, an entire civilization on shelves. Most are routine contracts, marriage documents, taxes, but among them are fragments of epics, hymns, cosmologies, literature itself. Cuneiform writing was always an extremely complex system, not an alphabet, but a collection of symbols where each could be a syllable, a word, or a grammatical marker. Imagine text where a cross represents either the letter T, the word faith, or a sign indicating the next word is a god's name. Multiply this by 1,000, add different languages, Sumerian, Akkadian, Babylonian, Assyrian, similar writing systems, dialects, scribal errors, and destroyed text fragments. Generations of scholars like Grotefend and Rawlinson decoded the symbols manually. Their work was an achievement, but incomplete. They saw the trees, but never the entire forest. The artificial intelligence saw the forest for the first time. The model trained on the entire corpus of cuneiform texts began detecting what humans just couldn't access. Individual scribal handwriting styles, grammatical patterns of schools, and sequences that allowed restoration of lost lines. The AI accurately pieced together fragments from London, Berlin, and Philadelphia. And slowly, from the chaos of myths, a structure emerged, clear, logical, and honestly quite terrifying. What was considered poetry appeared as technical descriptions. What was called creation myths looked like laboratory reports. The biblical idea of creating humans from clay appeared different in Sumerian versions. The Anunnaki faced a problem. Hard labor exhausted them, and the minor gods rebelled, demanding helpers. Let us make Lulu a primitive worker, Enki suggests. Then come experimental steps. They take clay, the material, and mix it with the blood of the god Geshtu, who possessed intellect. This is a recipe, a specification. Their first experiments failed. The creatures were sterile, unable to move or eat. They were destroyed, and they started again. The AI noticed a key detail. Different groups of created beings were referred to by different terms. Lumelu meant servant, Sagiga meant black-headed ones, and there were others that, well, were previously considered just descriptions. But you see, contextual statistics showed these were actually technical categories, batch markers, almost like serial numbers. The algorithm constructed a diagram showing people were created in different groups for different purposes and in different regions. The black-headed ones were farmers and builders, sturdy and organized. The clay without voice were miners, strong, but always mentioned without references to speech. The tablets generally describe not the creation of humanity as a whole, but the production of biological workers. The place of production was Eden, the plain between two rivers, now known as Mesopotamia. Paradise, well, it was a factory. This idea honestly upended the foundations of anthropology. Races and peoples might not be the result of evolution, but rather original variations of prototypes. In the myths, the gods argue. Enki, the engineer and protector of humans, seeks to improve them. Enlil, the ruler, demands strict adherence to protocols and sees humans as a danger. This conflict, you know, represents a debate between two ideologies reflected in different models. Those connected to Enki receive knowledge, writing, laws, astronomy. Groups under Enlil's command receive only hard labor and restrictions on development. The word noise, rigmu, in one myth makes Enlil angry. The AI showed it often meant unauthorized conversations, discussions, questions. Enlil wasn't disturbed by crowd noise, but by workers who began thinking. However, we must pause here and acknowledge something crucial. What I've just shared represents a controversial interpretation that exists far outside mainstream archaeological consensus. Most archaeologists and historians interpret these ancient texts as mythology, religious literature, and cultural narratives, not as literal technical manuals. The traditional scholarly view understands Sumerian creation myths as spiritual and symbolic explanations for human existence, similar to creation stories found in cultures worldwide. The theory that ancient texts describe genetic engineering or advanced prehistoric technology is not accepted by the scientific archaeological community. There's just no physical evidence of advanced technology in ancient Mesopotamia beyond what we already know. Impressive but explainable achievements in agriculture, architecture, mathematics and astronomy using the tools and knowledge available at the time. What's truly fascinating, and what we can say with certainty, is that artificial intelligence is giving us new tools to analyze ancient texts, find patterns, and piece together fragments in ways that would take human scholars lifetimes to accomplish. Whether these new readings reveal hidden technical knowledge or simply help us better understand ancient mythology and worldview remains a subject of intense debate. The real treasure here isn't proving any particular theory about our origins. The real treasure is that we're learning to read our past with unprecedented clarity. Every cuneiform tablet, every ancient symbol, every fragment of clay represents real people who lived, worked, loved, and tried to understand their world just as we do. Whether they were recording actual events, sacred myths, or something in between, their words connect us across 5,000 years of human history. Fellow time travelers, what do you think about these interpretations? Do ancient texts hold hidden technical knowledge, or are they purely mythological? How should we approach controversial theories about our past? Share your thoughts in the comments below and join us next time as we continue exploring the incredible mysteries that our ancestors left behind. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning,